Beautiful. So I will share my screen. I am going to be sharing it from the perspective as if I were a consultant. So of course, on my end of Google Drive, I can see some things that you all cannot see because I am an admin on Google Drive. But we'll be looking at this fake account that I have set up here, which is just called Consultants. And so it's got all the same permissions that you all as ESC consultants have on Google Drive. And I'm also going to close my view of you all. So again, if you raise your hand, I can't see you. Just go ahead and shout out at me if I go too fast or if you have a question. So let's start by figuring out how do we even get to Google Drive? Because it seems pretty simple, but it can be confusing even on its own. So I just have, you may have many things as a home page. You may have Google Drive, you may have, I don't know, Facebook, whatever is your home page. One way to do it is to just type Drive, and it's already shared here, but let's say it wasn't. You can go to Drive. It'll be the first thing that pops up here for Google Drive. Another way to get to it is, of course, through our ESC website. So our website is escfl.org. And we have a little handy dandy button over here you might not have known about. It's called Consultant Portal. All you have to do is click that Consultant Portal. Boom. It's going to take you right to the Consultant Portal. Super helpful. Another way to kind of get a handy dandy link to the Consultant Portal would be to bookmark it. Now, I'm using Google Chrome. There are many different other browsers you could use. Some people use Safari, Firefox maybe, although I haven't used that one in some time. But for Google Chrome to bookmark, you will hit this little star right here. That star in your search bar makes it a bookmark. And I'm not going to rename it. I'm just going to call it Consultant Portal Google Drive Amazing. And now it will show up on my bookmarks, which a lot of people have right under their search bar. This one doesn't currently. So to do that, I'm going to click these little three dots over here and go over to bookmarks and lists. And I want to show bookmarks bar. There it is. Now, did it decide not to save my bookmark? That was very rude of it. So I will go back here, go again to bookmarks and lists, show all bookmarks.
Alexa?
Yes.
On my screen at the top, there's a black lettering that says this meeting is being recorded.
Yes.
And I can't see what's under it, and a lot of what you're pointing to is under it.
Okay. Does it give you permission to click OK?
I think it gives you permission to click OK. I don't think I can.
It popped up.
Oh, no, you're right. I did.
Yeah, that'll
Thanks.
usually do it. And that brings up a good question, Eleanor, is also you may want to play along as we go. I had meant to say this before. If you do want to play along as we go, you can have me up as well as watch Zoom, which I know can be kind of confusing for some folks if they don't know how to sort of minimize their browsers. Is anybody interested in clicking along that is not currently clicking along? Okay. I was in another workshop where someone did not know how to sort of minimize Zoom enough to get another browser open, and that got confusing for them. So thank you for
Alexa?
that. Yes, Barbara.
So I actually have two laptops, so I'm going to use one of them to do what you just said.
Excellent.
But now I need to go back. So I actually, I didn't know about going on the ESC website and then hitting the consultant portal. I got to this, you can't see what I'm doing, the first part that you did, but now I'm trying to figure out how to get to the thing where you just did the bookmarks. My thing doesn't over on the right hand side. So I have the three dots.
Yes.
But
when you click the three dots, do you see
bookmarks and lists?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Hello, Bindu. Welcome.
Okay, so first I have to bookmark this thing then, right?
Correct. So
And
you
then
know,
go over here.
yep. So your search bar is essentially where you type a website. There should
Yeah,
be, if you're using Google Chrome, that little star
I
right there.
see it. I just did that. Okay,
Perfect.
now go to bookmarks and lists and do what?
Uh, Under your Google, if you look at my screen real quick, do you have a little bar right here that shows your bookmarks?
No.
No. Okay. So go to those three dots, like you said,
Uh-huh.
click bookmarks and lists,
Yes.
and then show bookmarks bar.
Okay.
And then now do you see the consultant portal as
It
one of your little
says
bookmarks?
it says all bookmarks. So if I hit that, oh, yep. Okay.
Yeah.
It's my one and only. Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
At
Okay.
mine, I wanted to show up here. So Barbara, I think you might want to do this as well. So I'm going to use that little all bookmarks bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll open up my side panel. So here it is. And then I'm going to find the bookmark I want, which is here, consultant portal. I will right click, or I'll click once on that little three dots again on the right and move to bookmarks bar folder. And now, bum, ba, da, 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 it shows up right here.
Okay, well, that didn't happen for me. Open side panel to see all bookmarks? No.
Correct.
Okay. Then right click on that.
Don't right click on it. That was my mistake. Just click, hover over it, and then you'll see three little dots again that says more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you should be able to say, I think it said add to bookmarks.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yay, beautiful. So Bindu, we're just to give you a little bit about the conceit, we're starting with Google Drive. So we're starting with navigating to the Google Drive for those who don't know how to navigate there. And if you have questions as you go, I can't see you all because I'm busy sharing my screen. So feel free to just shout my name and that will give me an indication that you have a question as we go. So one thing you may not know about Bindu that I'll show you real quick. If you navigate to our website and you want to get a quick link to the consultant portal, it's right up here. Ooh, that'll take you right there. But sometimes we end up on Google Drive doing something else. We end up on Google Drive because someone shared something with us. We end up on Google Drive on our homepage of Google Drive. We end up getting there not right exactly towards the consultant portal, and then we don't know how to get anywhere else. I hear that a lot. So say someone shared, let's see, I don't want to do anything private. Let's see what's not private of mine. So I have this application that that's a PDF. That's not a good one. PDFs aren't good. Okay, let's see. Someone sent me this resume. And I'm now saying, okay, great. I'm on Google Documents, but how do I get back to Google Drive? Right? One way to do it is to click this button right up here, Docs Home. And there's a similar button for slideshows, similar button for sheets, any of those. Those will take us right. Well, this takes you to this one, which I hate, but it'll at least get you out of that document, right? Then you can go over here to this little square that's got all of the Google apps, and that can take you right over to your drive. Very nice.
So is that going to take you back to the share
Nope.
drive, our ESC drive? Because
Nope.
sometimes I wind up on my own drive and
Yeah.
I never use my own drive. I mean, I never ever had used the drive at all until I
Yep.
started using it here. So
Yep. Yep, that's what we're going to talk about. That's a
okay.
perfect point, Barbara. So when you get an ESC drive, when you get an ESC email account, you're automatically given a Google Drive, but you have basically two drives. You have your ESC drive, Barbara's drive for B Gray at ESCFL.org. That's what you get when you navigate out of that Google document. And that is a drive that you are welcome to use, but is not how you should be storing any kind of projects for ESC, any documents for ESC. It is also not connected to, Barbara, if you have an email called barbaragray@gmail.com, those drives don't speak to each other. So that is why if you're logged into alexavettertorres@gmail.com, where I have a separate drive, I can't get into the consultant portal. So that can get confusing too if you're trying to share documents between yourself. You're thinking, but I put it on the drive. Did you put it on the consultant portal? That's why we try to call it the consultant portal and not like the shared Google Drive. I try to use consultant portal to avoid some of that confusion. But here on my screen, what you should see is this is what I get when I navigated away from Maria's resume. I ended up here. Welcome to Drive, suggested files. This is my home page. Okay, how the heck do I get back to Google Drive for the consultant portal? Because some of these things I can see environmental scan. Okay, that's the consultant portal. But how do I get there? The easiest way, I think, is to go over here on the far left. This bar over here has got lots of shortcuts for you. I'm going to go to the one that says shared with me. And then what did I find? Shared with me. And this has been shared with all ESC consultants on your first day. You get that email from me that says you've been given access to the consultant portal. There it is. Consultant portal. And again, all I did was, and I can always go back to this, I clicked shared with me. Or not shared drives. That's the confusing thing. Shared with me. Shared with me. Another thing you can do to shortcut it is if I hover over any folder in Google Drive or any document, any slideshow, anything, I can favorite it. Can make it a favorite of mine, though on Google Drive, they call it starred instead of bookmarked or favorited, which is different than the bookmark bar you did before. So I know they like to change the language up to confuse everybody. So I'm going to hover over consultant portal, which I haven't shared with me, but maybe I want to get to it in a different way. I'm going to drag my cursor over and hit this star button. Now that entire folder has been added to starred. Now it's helpful to have that right over here on the left under shared with me on your left-hand bar. You can go to starred consultant portal. But as you can see, I, at some point, don't remember when, also starred specifically the folder for Greater Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. So that is a shortcut to get to that Greater Hollywood folder. And so when we were about to walk through what's on the consultant portal, and so as we go, if you're following along and you realize I use that folder a lot, but it takes me a long time to click 5 times to get into it, go ahead and star it. Hover over it, drag over to the right and click star, and then it will show up over here in your starred items, which can be a great shortcut. So let's go into that consultant portal. Here we are. Now, did someone have a question? Okay. Hi, Bindu. I can't see your hand, so just shout out if you need me. I can't see
I do.
Great. Give it to me now.
Okay. So when I go into, sometimes when I go into clients and projects, what pops up is this one project repeatedly. And it has, it's not this list. There is another project that like legal something. I'm not even familiar with the title of the project. And I have tried every which way to move away from that. Then it's a long circuitous route for me to get back to where I need to get to, because I'm trying to get to the main folder for Greater Hollywood or Schoolhouse Children's, right?
Right. Well, go ahead.
So for instance, if you could click on clients and projects now. everything comes up alphabetically,
Correct.
right? And sometimes it's just something else pops up, and it could be just something that I'm doing which is not correct. And so
Yes.
I like your
think-
idea. I like your idea about that starred thing. So whatever projects I'm working on right now, I'll just star those and then get to them directly.
They
Thank
live
you.
in starred for you. Yep.
Thank
yep.
you.
Oftentimes, and I dealt with this with a consultant last week, they were here. Actually, if you look at my screen, they were up here on this home section, and it was giving them some suggested files up here. And so they were clicking one of those, even though it said it lived under clients and projects, it kept sending them directly to one folder that is nestled under clients and projects. But then whenever they were clicking back, it just kept showing them suggested folders. And so then they got kind of stuck in this loop because they saw the words consultant portal. But that's why you always want to navigate over to shared with me, consultant portal, or even better, as a guarantee that you will get to the right consultant portal, ESC-FL.org, click the button, consultant portal. That's like a guaranteed. Any other way, Google can send you down some like Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole, you know? And I don't understand why they've done it, but that's a good point, Bindu. Thank you. And welcome, Karen. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Alexa, it's Ken.
Yes, Ken.
I'm going to drop out because I can't see this.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
too much. Okay.
That's no problem. I'll still send you the recording. So if you want to pop into anything, you can.
I don't want to stick my eye in the screen.
I got you. I got you. Thank you.
Bye.
Call me if you need anything.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Uh-huh. Wonderful. So we are back
So
here.
Alexa, sorry, I had a question.
Oh,
So
hi,
if
Daniel. Yes.
I want to take a document from the portal and
Mhm.
work on it, check it out, basically, work on it, then check it back in. Do
Yes.
people do that? Like, what's the best way to do that?
Some people do that. I encourage against it, but at
Okay,
the end of the day, you are all your own people and you're all volunteer consultants. So that is your choice. The only way to do that would be, I will show you, to find a document. Let me go to something that it won't hurt. Don't worry about how I'm getting here because none of this matters. Let's see. Background information maybe has something in it. Yeah, so here's a Google sheet, right?
mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to go to File, Download. You'll download it as an Excel, slideshow,
Okay,
Word document, whatever. It'll download it for you. Then you can, edit it.
okay,
And then when you want to re-upload it, you'll have to re-upload the folder or the file.
okay.
Excuse me.
So you can't just take a copy of it under my drive, work on it and put it back up to
So are you
like cut
saying
and
you want
paste
to
kind
work on it on your private Google Drive, or do you want to work on it on
Yeah,
your computer?
either.
You can make a
Okay.
copy of it. That in that case, what you would do is you can right click any document. You can make a copy of it. So I'm creating a copy of this, and then you could drag it, this copy. So you can see here, the old version is still here. FY 2023 original budget, use this file, and then copy of FY 24, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, is here. You can drag it. There's two ways to do it. You can move it. So you can click the button organize,
Okay,
move, and then with move, you can move it wherever. So
okay. Work.
you can move it over to your private drive, or you can just drag it over.
Where would your
Okay.
private drive be on there?
It's my
It's
drive,
my
right?
drive
Oh,
right here.
my drive.
Yeah. So that's why we talk about there's my drive. Now, the problem with that document I was trying to move, Daniel, is the permissions wouldn't allow me to do it. So if you run into a problem where the permissions won't allow you to do it because it doesn't want you to take it off the consultant portal and you don't have that kind of administrative permission to do so, your best bet would be to do what I first said, which was go into the file, download it, and then you can re-upload it onto your drive and work on it.
All right, that's good. The reason I'm
I'll-
asking is it doesn't
Mhm.
seem to be very good at versioning. So that's why, save where you are, work on it, put it back up. Version 1, version 2, version 3. Everything to do with live Google is live updates, and it's hard to
Yeah.
go back one version. That's the
Uh,
challenge.
I could see that. I could also see where I have done a final report for a client. I was going to get to this a little bit later, but that is fine. Let's jump around. We did a data set is what we did. And we did the entire data set. We wrote the whole thing on Drive. We did it all in Docs. And what we did was anytime someone would, we revved it up here, different versions. I understand. It really wants to tell me these things. And all the different versions can be seen up here. So if you go up to the top, there's this little clock kind of with a reverse, and that has all these different version histories. So I could take it all the way back to what we originally had in, July of 2022 by using the more actions button. It's those 3 little dots again, Barbara. There they are. I can just take a look at this version. Here it is, our very bare bones first version. I could, even if I wanted to, restore to this version. I could make a copy of this version of it, or I could do nothing. I could scroll back up to our current version, which is where we are today, and see everything. So you can see all different versions of it all the way throughout history in one place. You can make a copy of those versions, you can revert to those versions, and you can even see who did what. So I can say, hey, Frank, I noticed that you accidentally deleted this thing I didn't want you to delete. Can I get back to it? And then I can do so. So I think it's just a different way of going about it versus different documents of version 1, version 2, version 3. So I understand the learning curve of it. And
Well, for
again,
someone who's been educated with Microsoft, it is quite a change, but I understand.
huge change.
It's very convenient.
Huge change. And so I'm not telling you have to use this version at all. If it makes you more comfortable to upload multiple versions with, Rev 1, Rev 2, version 1, version 2, that is fine too. To an extent, we can only do so much, but I did just want to educate you, and it was on my list anyway. So for the sake of the recording, to see those are all options in Google. They allow you to see a version history, to revert, to make copies of. So
Thanks.
yeah,
Thank you.
that's all there.
And Alexa, I just want to make sure the 3 dots that got us into that were the ones right under the share button there, right? On the right-hand side.
No, it's
No.
this button right here.
Oh, the timeline. That's okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And then when I click on that timeline, it takes me into
Okay.
this magical version history section.
Right.
Where you
Okay.
can see those 3 dots pop up
Okay.
next
And
to
then gives choices. Okay.
each version. Yeah. And
Mhm.
tells me who did what when. It tattletales.
I've got to get that. I never noticed that little clock thing.
I know, the clock. It's been a lifesaver because we are teaching folks, and I'm learning too. I never really used Google Drive until I came on board with ESC. So it really saves your tuchus when something gets accidentally deleted or moved around and you can't figure out what the heck happened. Let me just go to the version history, because if worse comes to worse, I can get it back to what it was yesterday. Save my behind there. Did you have something, Bindu? Yes.
Yes. So, very simple. Just last week, one of our team members, Mark, shared his piece. Said, okay, here's the one that's ready to go, edit, make changes, whatever. So I'm like, this looks like a good way to share the information. I tried to do that, and it just went, it was like Bindu's unmagical mess.
Did
So,
he share it did he share it as an attachment? He shared it in
So-
Google.
yeah, he shared it as an email,
Mhm.
and under it was the, like a smaller window which came up, which said, okay, this is the document, and that's not the way that I've been sharing things in the past. As you know, I've created havoc with the share drive. So anyway, what I usually do is I go into the document, and where it says share, I drop that down and add the ESC emails of the folks that I want to share the doc with.
Yes.
And
Don't want to
then,
do that. Let me make that clear
yes,
on this
I should
recording.
not do
That
that.
is not what you should do. That is not what you should do. And that is on my list of
Okay, so
conversations.
I'll
to
wait.
have
I'll wait
today.
till you come to that. But supposing I use the copy link
Mhm.
option, I
Mhm.
can just copy that link and go into my email,
Mhm.
and then just put that link in there in my email and say, here's the document I want you to look at, or whatever. Is that a safer way to do it?
Correct. That's the best
Okay.
way to do it. And you will get that
Oh,
little preview. You know, that
okay.
little box you were talking about?
Yes.
It'll pop up automatically. Google Drive
Okay.
connects with your email. And so it will
But
allow that
all,
magical version to pop
okay,
up.
so all I have been able to get so far is
Mhm.
this long link.
That's fine.
So
We can go over how you refine
okay,
that as well.
fine.
But even that long link will still produce that cute little box for you.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
of
should
course.
stop. I should
So-
stop thinking the way I have been. And so sorry, guys.
So what is it we're not supposed to do, Alexa? I lost that.
Just
You're
don't
not
do
supposed to
anything that
share.
Bindu's doing. Period.
So let me talk to you. This will answer your question, Daniel. Let me talk to you about how the consultant portal is set up permission-wise in terms of users and in terms of who can see what. So my preface here, and this will answer your question. My preface here is that Kathy, who is our lovely treasurer of the board and who does work on projects sometimes, is working with me to make the consultant portal more readable, accessible, understandable in terms of permissions. So everything I say here today is not the Bible. It is not forever and always, amen, it will be this way. There may be changes, and we're also going to do a better job of communicating those changes when they do happen so that you as consultants are not going in like, this is different than what Alexa taught me. When changes and permissions are made, or when Google makes major changes, we're going to try to do a better job of communicating them, as long as Google tells us that they, did that. But the consultant portal is set up to where there is one master, I hate that word, but one major main folder. That is the consultant portal. All in all, it is just a folder. That is all this is. It's a shared folder, but we call it the consultant portal. Its permissions, if you click this little guy, my shared button, these two little gentlemen or ladies, who knows? This is all the people who can see it automatically. Now there's me, consultant test. There's all of our consultants. As you can see, I'm a manager. Everybody. There's Joel. Janelle's still there. Kathy. A lot of our board members you will see are administrators. They're overall managers. But as you see at the bottom too, it says restricted. Only people with access can open this link, which is why what Bindu's saying is when she wants to share it with people, she wants to ensure that those people have access to it. And oftentimes our clients do not innately have access to what's in Google Drive. And so you'll get an alert like you're sharing this with someone who doesn't have access. What do you want to do? That's when you give them permission. We'll get to that. But all these people innately have permission to see everything in the consultant portal. So if you're Bindu working on Greater Hollywood, Ken, who left, bye Ken, Ken can still see everything in Greater Hollywood. There should be nothing we're doing on the consultant portal that somebody couldn't see if they wanted to go look for it. We don't have any private projects in that way. When you sign your volunteer consulting agreement, you agree to confidentiality, you agree not to share numbers of nonprofits, you know, and to be honest, you're all busy volunteers. Nobody but me or Joel is digging around in any of these folders if they're not assigned to a project. But theoretically, you could go look in another folder for another project. And that might come in handy because I might say, you know, we did a similar survey for parents with Schoolhouse Children's Museum. You may want to go try to find that in the drive. So then you as the consultant could say, okay, I'll just go look up Schoolhouse Children's Museum and see what they did on that project. That sounds really interesting. But there's 4 folders within here. Clients and projects, that's the main one you use. Consultant files, marketing and advertising, templates, manuals, resources, and best practices. Whew. So we'll look at all those today. Clients and projects is the main one everyone's going to look at. And when I automatically open it, it is sorted alphabetically. But sometimes it gets annoyed. Sometimes it doesn't want to sort alphabetically. How can we fix that? Right here. You see this bar that's not a bar? It's got name, last modified, file size, some other fun stuff, more sorting options. If I want to sort alphabetically, I go over to name, and then I can change that. Oh, now it's going Z to A. Now it's A to Z. But maybe I want to sort by last modified. So let's see, what was last modified? This is the reverse way, you can tell, 2018. So the last thing modified in here was me today poking around in Special Compass. You can also click last modified by me. So again, I haven't modified anything because I'm in this fake account here, but last opened by me, it should show Second Chance Society, which I went in. Big Brothers I was poking around in. So you have all those options as well, which could be a quick way to get to some stuff you were looking for. File size, not really helpful. But I want to stick with name, and I want to stick with A to Z. Boom, I know how to get to where I'm going. Now let's go into, I'll just go back to Second Chance because I'm familiar with that folder. When I double click on it, you're going to see 2 things. All the folders are sorted this way. I make all the folders, so they're all built the same way. General, which is just about Second Chance Society. Ain't nothing in there. Ain't nothing, nothing in most of them. Strategic plan. That is the project, the folder for the project that we are doing with Second Chance Society. And Barbara and I have talked about this. When I make a folder, I kind of come up with standard subfolders, like all of these. But as the project team members, as the consultants working on these projects, you can make make subfolders to your heart's desire. If the setup I've got for you makes absolutely no sense, that's fine. As long as everything you're working on that is related to this project lives in these folders, and it lives in the Second Chance Society strategic plan folder, I don't care how you file it, you know, as long as it's within that folder and we can find it if we need to. But I will give you base folders to start based on what we found are the most helpful in terms of that particular kind of project. So here you've got the contract, everything about the data set, everything about the environmental scan, which I guess could have lived up here in the data set. We separated it out. Final report, stuff that was sent to us from the executive director, the catch-all other, SCS dataset documents for distribution. Do we see this folder looks a little bit different? It's got a little guy in it. These don't. That is because this folder has a document that was shared with folks outside of our organization. It was shared with people from Second Chance Society. And I believe it could have been either of these. It was probably this Zoom recording here. So if I want to see who is this shared with, I can right click on it and I can go down to share. Now here, Daniel, is where your question comes in. Bindu was, and sorry, let me finish my thought. Guests, let's see, members, let's see, is this shared with someone other than us? We made it down here at the bottom, general access. Anyone with the link can view. So because we knew this Zoom was going to be distributed to members of Second Chance Society, we changed the general access of it to view. Now I could change it. I could still get rid of that, but I could click this drop down, anyone with the link restricted. And I could turn this back into a link that's only shared with ESC people. But I want to keep it as anyone with the link can view so that all the Second Chance folks who don't have ESC email addresses can see this one item. Now, what Daniel did, or what Daniel's question was, what Bindu was doing, which I don't blame her. Bindu was like, great, I need to share this Zoom link with members of my team. So she was going here, she was sharing it, she was going over all the way to share. And then she was saying, oh, well, Arturo doesn't need to see this. He's not on our team. I don't want to bother him with any emails. I don't want him to get a notice about this. I'm going to remove his access. Now, when Bindu did that, she didn't just remove Arturo's access to this file. She accidentally removed it to a lot of things, which is not her fault, because why would she know that? Why would she think that this one's document was going to cause a little bit of chaos? It did. That's okay. We figured it out. But that is why I say, don't worry about this. Unless you are trying to share this document with somebody outside of ESC, you don't need to be in here. And again, if you need help with this, call me. Let's walk through it together. But you do not need to get into this by right-click, share, the little guy with the plus sign. No need to be in this, because everybody at ESC can already view it. And if you need to change it to anyone outside of the organization, you only want to mess with general access down there. Just makes it easier. But if you want to just share this, just get the document to anyone on the team, because I want to email it so that everybody can take a look at it. All I'm going to do, very easy, is that right click again. I still go to share, but I'm going to copy the link. Link copied. Oh my gosh, down here it told me I'm automatically copying it. So let me go over to my email and get it going so I can send it out to whoever. I'm going to compose a new email. I'm going to send it to Alexa. She seems really nice. Zoom link. I just clicked Command V, but you could also, of course, right click. I don't know if y'all can see this, but paste. And it is kind of a long, ugly link. I get that, Bindu. It's kind of a long, ugly link. If I want to make it prettier, I can highlight it. And there's this little button down here. I get them confused all the time. There's the attachment button and there's the link button. But the link button, that's going to make it a link. And then I can hit change. And when I hit change, this here is to what URL should this link go. That's what I want. That's the link I copied from Google Drive. I don't want to change that. But up here on text to display, I can say, you know, SCS dataset presentation. And now it's not an ugly link anymore. Now it's this like pretty link. Wow, magic. And then when I send it, bye, it's gone. Let me just take a look at view message. Let me see what it looks like. It's automatically given me this lovely little preview down here. Now it would do the same thing for any Google Docs, any sheets. It shows up as an attachment down here, just as if you attached it from your computer. So you'll still get that. Here we can try that with like this PDF. Share, right click, share, copy link, link copied. You can also do it this way. if you did end up in this no-no land of the people, down here at the bottom, copy link does the same thing. So I'll go back to my email up here. I want to make this a link. I'm double clicking it to highlight it. I'll click the insert link button. Let's give it a name. I'm going to hit change. And then I'm going to say, I forgot what this is, data set presentation. Alternatively, you could just type data set presentation. Now I'm going to highlight those words. Go back down to that handy dandy insert link. And this time it's the opposite. It told me the text to display. That's what I typed in. Now I'm just going to paste that link I got from Google Drive. And I'm going to okay. Same thing either way. Language connected to the link. And then when I send it, again, it automatically populates this cute little attachment down here, which if I open, it'll take me to see it here. And it shows up like a nice, pretty document. And if I click it here, it's going to take me over to Google Drive. This button here, I can move it around. This here, if I click, let's see. If I click here, these 3 dots, I can get around and move it around and things like that, but we don't need to go into that today. To get back to my Google account, because I'm like, now I'm in this PDF, what the heck? I'm just gonna go over here. Let's see, this is what stinks. There's not really a nice way to get back to Google Drive from here. They really don't do a good job with that. How do I get just back to Google Drive? Anyway, Google does not make it easy all of the time, as you can see, even for me. I feel like there should be a nice button just to get right back to Google Drive here, but there's not. So I'll close out of it. And then I'll just go back to Google Drive over here by going back to shared with me, consultant portal. That's a lot, I know. Yes, Barbara. Oh, Barbara, I lost your sound. Can anyone else hear her? Did you get unplugged
No.
maybe? Because it doesn't say you're muted, so I think maybe your headset got unplugged.
So just a quick one, Alexa. So this
Yes,
is all
Daniel.
possible because the members of the team have read-only access, right? The sending of the link, or it ends up being viewer only by default.
You're talking about people outside of the organization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I
If
send
you
that link
want-
to anyone.
If you want to send
Right.
that link to anyone, you have to, it doesn't automatically allow you to do so. They will get sorry, I just shared the wrong thing. They will get notice that they can't see it. So if you wanted
Okay.
to if you wanted to do so and just send that link, you have to change the permissions first. So to do
Okay.
so, we'll go back in clients and projects. I'm going down to second chance, which, you know what? Let me star it. Let me make my life easier. Second chance, strategic plan. We're back in that data set. No, that wasn't what it was, but whatever, it doesn't matter. There's the report. Then
But it
that's
did
where
say,
you have,
yeah, it did say, all viewer only kind of thing when you went to
that one was,
permission.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one, because
Okay.
we had made it to be that way. So
Okay. All right.
this one here is not. This must be hidden somewhere else in a different folder. So this one here, if you look down at the bottom, only people from ESC can see it. So I
Okay.
want to change. This is a good point, Daniel. Thank you. I want to change this so that anybody can see it, because I want to share it with the folks from outside of the organization. So what's the best way for me to do that? Let's see. I go to share. Let's see. God, they really don't make this easy. I hear y'all.
Well, when you copy the link, it asks you if you want to manage permissions. Oh,
Let's
not
see.
there. Okay, before
Yeah,
it did.
so,
Here
yeah,
it does.
share. We'll go
Copy
over
link.
to right click, copy link,
Mhm. And
manage
then it says manage
access.
access.
Ah,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Perfect. But then it took me right here again, which is very
Oh.
annoying. So then I'm gonna
Okay.
try this. So I'm gonna make.
What
I'm gonna-
about where it says editor? Can
Or
you
guest.
use that
When you
to,
go guests,
So the editor is just regarding
what about just viewer?
ESC Florida. Well, this is just referring to the folks in ESC Florida. So I'm gonna go, guests is just showing you all these folks. So what
okay,
I'm
so
gonna
it
do
doesn't
is
talk about all others.
yeah,
Yeah.
so up here, this is what Bindu was doing. This is when we want to use this feature. Add folks up here. So I'm gonna add,
Okay,
let's see, it's mad at me. Alexa, this is just my regular Gmail. AlexaVeratorez@gmail.com. And now it goes, wait, do you want this person to have this? So then it's popping up to me like, what do we think about this person? Editor, viewer, commenter. Let's just make her a viewer. The difference being with editor, they can do whatever they want with it. Commenter, they can make comments on the document. Viewer, they can only see it. I don't want her to do too much. So I can copy that link. So now she'll have access to it, or I can send it. In this case, I'm going to send it. See what happens. Whoa, Alexa is external to ESC. We encourage caution when sharing. Okay, we trust her. We'll share it anyway. Access updated. Let's see. So now when I go into share, she will have access to it. Now, what this is not telling me is how am I supposed to make, I'm trying to remember, I apologize everyone, how I make it where anyone can have access to it.
the other document added, right?
Yes, and I'm thinking it's because the entire folder had it. So what we must have done is use this function, the share function again, to give general access. Anyone with the link can view to the folder.
Ah, okay. So my biggest fear is, like
Mhm.
Daniel said, lack of versioning.
Okay, I hear that.
And
Just maybe hold for a second.
Okay,
Let me
sure.
just finish what we're
Sure.
working on now.
Sure.
So what I think I'm realizing, Daniel, is that so I'm working over here in this is an account I created to basically give me the same permissions as a ESC consultant. And so I see different things as an ESC administrator, obviously. And it's looking like I'm learning that I can't grant those same kind of permissions. You can't those same kind of permissions to make a folder available to anyone. That general permission that was like anyone with the link can view. I can't do that as you all. And so that's a bit concerning because I feel like you should be able to do that. I can do it as Alexa in my account, but that is a good note for me to have to try and figure out if that's a permission we can give you all. Because right now you don't have that permission to do anyone with the link can view. You have to go user by user to send something out.
That's probably the annoying thing about links because you end up granting permissions to everyone, right? So
it is. And you could make it so that a folder was shared with an entire, organization.
Okay.
And then it wouldn't be an issue. If I wanted Marie from Greater Hollywood to see everything in this folder, I could set that up. But again, you're going user by user.
Yep. Okay.
So I'm going to look into that because that's not very helpful. I will get with Kathy on that.
So
I never knew that wasn't an option because it's an option for me. Alexa. So I learned
So
something.
Alexa, do you have two accounts within ESC, one saying ESC and another one saying Alexa?
This account that I'm in right now is just a test account because I don't
But that's not a
want,
permanent ESC account.
I only have one account. It's
Okay,
Amy
like
Torres at
us.
ESC-FL.org.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm only
All right.
using this one so that I
For
see
a
what you
test.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
Okay,
way I'm not
thanks.
showing you things that you can't do, which
Right.
is
right.
good that I did that, because if I were showing you my
Yeah.
account right now, we would have been able to do that and you wouldn't have. So
Right.
it's a good learning lesson.
Yep.
So can I just mention, and I'm not
That's
sure how I did this
Yep.
now, it was very easy. So, so there have been some things that I have wanted to share.
Mhm.
I have this, fear, fear of editing.
Mhm.
Uh, and, but yet I want to share something and have someone, at least if they want to look at it, they can comment on it, but they can't mess with the document,
Mhm.
right? That's one issue. And one is that some people, I don't want them to mess with it, and others, it doesn't really matter because we're really still in the development mode.
Mhm.
There is some way that I've been able to go and maybe it's in Google Docs, I'm not sure, where I can share, I want to share something and it asks me, what format do you want to share this in?
Mhm.
Is that just in Google Docs? Because I didn't see you kind of come across that here. And then that way I can copy a link and share it, but as a PDF or something like that, because that's what I'll say, is do it as a PDF and then they can look at it, they can keep it. I mean, obviously it becomes theirs, but it's not, it's external to being in the drive, I imagine, right? Because they don't
Yes,
need to be in the drive.
as soon as you download it, it becomes external to be on the
Download, that
drive.
maybe that's
I
what,
believe downloading is probably what you're doing, which we will talk about a little bit when we dive into Google Docs themselves.
okay.
But as soon as it goes onto your computer, that version no longer lives on the drive. And so of course you can do whatever you want with it. Just be sure that whatever final version, that's kind of what Daniel and I were talking about with versioning, that final version should end back up on the drive. We don't need to see every step along the way of every single thing you did, but it's imperative that the final version of documents ends up back on the drive, because there could be a situation where you go on vacation or you're out of town and then someone asks for
Absolutely.
something, and then I send them something and it's not the right version. If it didn't live on the drive, there's no way of anyone knowing whether it's the final version or not. And we have run into that problem.
Well, and I'm not even talking about sharing it with myself. I'm talking about something that we want someone to see and look at. But that's as far as it goes. It's
mhm,
whatever version it is,
mhm.
it's really for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're probably downloading.
That's
The
what I'm
other
doing.
thing you could be talking about is those permissions. I mean,
No, I
even
think
when you,
it's simpler than that. It's the downloading.
yeah. But you can adjust permissions to be viewer versus commenter versus editor, which was what I was talking about when I shared the document to alexavettortorres@gmail.com. I made her only a viewer on that. So if you wanted to share a direct link to a client and you don't want them to touch it, you just want them to see it, that could be a way to do so.
Okay. Thank you.
Bindu, what was your question you were going to ask when I was stuck in my go, go, go?
No, so I understand now that I shouldn't be doing what I was doing all along. Big no. Okay, so I understand how to convert the link to just a link. That's
Great.
fine.
Yeah.
What I struggle with sometimes is like just two days ago, and Eleanor, you can probably speak to this. When I wanted to share this draft of the ES, I went and did the same darn thing again. And I hope I didn't. So my perception is that if I just add in that little window the names of the folks in my team, and then add a message to say, please review or whatever, and click send, it will just go to them. But I'm hearing from you that is not the way to do it.
If you
That is the confusion, because I understand what I did before. That was a big boo-boo. I totally understand what I did. And I'm so sorry for creating all that consternation, but this was 2 nights ago. And I wish I could show you the email I sent, but yeah, anyway, that's the dilemma I have. Because it is such a neat way of saying, okay, folks, I'm sending you this draft. This is what I want you to do with it, rather than sending it as an attachment to an email. Okay, exactly here, right? So I say add people, groups, or on calendar events. So I put in Eleanor, Mark, and Madeline.
Can I show you something, Ms. Bindu?
Yeah, please.
So in that same place where I don't want you to delete anybody, that's
No,
really
no.
what matters.
That's
Listen,
what happened the first time. So I
yes,
know that
if
I
you
will never do
add
that
somebody,
again.
if you
Yeah.
add somebody to this, whatever, I'll get rid of them,
Okay.
And look, if I try to add, not this one, this is not a good example because
Yeah.
that one's already shared, but let's
Well,
go.
go into the schoolhouse thing
Schoolhouse?
and
Okay.
yeah.
And let me show you a trick that I think will
Okay.
help solve what
Okay.
you're struggling with.
Yeah.
So we'll go
So-
into your environmental scan.
Yeah,
This is the version you were working on.
Yeah.
So I want to share this.
Mm.
I'm going to go over to that scary place.
Mm.
And first thing, if I go here and I try and let me get rid of someone, Tim's not coming back. He moved to Thailand. So if I remove his access,
Yeah, that
it's
I know I
gonna tell
shouldn't
me
do.
here, remove from parent folder. Whoa. Removing
what I
Tim Thomas
did.
will also remove him from the parent folder.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hit cancel, which by the way, that is the main thing I'm trying to fix with Kathy.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
all know.
Okay,
I'm trying to
I
make
get
it
that.
where
So
that's not an option. But hold on, Bindu. Here we are in that scary place. You just want to share it with these people. You don't want to add anybody. You don't want to delete anybody, but you don't want to share it with Amelia. She's not on this project. You don't want to share it with Christine. She's not on this project. Click this button here. This is just telling you who has access. Click this button. Email people on this file. I'm going to email people, but I don't want all these people. So I get that this is more annoying, but let's get rid of all these people. Let's unclick them. Who do I want? I want the people. I want,
okay, I got it now.
Keep them here. But I know this is annoying, but I only want the people on my team. So I'll remove them here in the email too. I will get rid of everybody.
Or like you did before, do it all in one swoop. Yeah.
All in one swoop, as long as it'll let you type those people in. But yeah, get rid of this.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
This is a
work.
long drawn out way to do it.
It
You
is a
wouldn't
long
believe,
drawn out way to
but
do it.
Daniel, I spent an hour doing that and destroyed the entire shared drive.
That is why I highly encourage you to copy the
Not to
link.
go this route. Yeah, I get you.
Copy the link.
Yeah.
Just copy
Until
the link and do it in the email.
Yeah. Until I can get with Kathy and fix that permission, because it didn't used to be like that. And that is also frustrating, Bindu. It used to be simpler. And there is a way to fix that where, adjusting the settings of a folder does not, adjusting the settings of a single file does not affect the parent folder. But right now, we do not have that option. And so until I can fix that, and when I do, ring, ring, ring,
Right.
which is dead,
I'm going to put a
post-it.
I'm going to put a post-it on my laptop, on my permanent.
Yeah. And we can fix it, but it's just, it's not the end of the world if something happens. But if you get a warning like that says, wait, you're about to change permissions for something big, just don't. Just call me and let's figure out another way to do whatever you want to do.
Thank you, Alexa.
The safe way until I can figure out what Google has done, since they've changed things, is to share the link. Bookmarking we talked about. I'm just looking at my little agenda. Who can see what parts on the drive, how our drive is set up, favoriting. Okay. I'm just going to run through real quick what all is on the Google Drive. And because there's some things that people don't know are there that could be helpful. And sorry, if you all know this, it will be a quick little rundown, but for whoever is watching us in the future, hello to the folks in the future. Great. So I just went back to shared with me. I was like, I don't want to deal with any of this nonsense. I'm going back to shared with me, which takes me to my consultant portal. Like I said, there are these 4 main folders. Now, we've talked a lot about clients and projects, so I'm not going to go too into that. You're all familiar with that. Consultant files is a handy little folder that not a lot of people use. No one really uses it, but it's at your disposal. This would be items you want to keep on the consultant portal. So you don't want them on your individual drive, but you don't necessarily need them in the project folder. So it could be things you're working on, but you're not ready to share with the team. It could be your volunteer consulting agreement that you signed, which we do have filed away in our sort of HR files, but maybe you want access to it. Something personal from ESC that just doesn't connect with a particular project, you can keep it in your private folder. Now, I will say it's private in that it's your folder. It's not private in that other people can't see it. So don't put your social security card in there. But anything related to ESC, but is not necessarily project related, stored in here. It's there for you. I will say not a lot of people use it, but it is a good option. Marketing, advertising, and public relations. This has some things you might use. I would say I have tried to pare this section down and keep things more in templates, manuals, resources, but there's some things here from before my time that could be helpful. Things like some of our ESC brochures. So we've got a cute little trifold, that you could, or our annual report lives in here if you ever wanted it for any reason. How might you find that though? Why, maybe you could just go to the consultant portal, search and drive, annual report, see what comes up and find it that way. I don't expect you to know how to find all these things, but this is more of an FYI that they live there and we can look for them together if we need to. Graphic elements and templates. This can be helpful. It's got lots of different versions of our letterhead, which you could use if you needed to. That's slideshows. Here's a little email template for your signature if you wanted a specific signature. Various versions of our logo to copy. Lots of stuff. ESC.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Barbara.
Okay, because I was asking because I'm
It was
not
going
using
in
my
and
mic.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going in and out now.
No, it was previously, but you're all
okay.
connected now.
All right, so either right now or if you wouldn't mind coming back to it, because I need some help on this. The whole business with, okay, so there's the template or the slick, I would call it, that we should use if we're creating a slide and when we want to do the greater, well, no, we want to do slides that have our logo on it. How do we do that? Because I cannot figure that out. And then the other thing is, do we have a place where, for example, the Greater Hollywood Chamber of Commerce slick would live? Do we have a process for getting things like that from our clients so that when we do something for them, we can put that on as well?
Good questions. We will go over templates in a minute, because I will show you when you're creating a doc template, which can then later be transposed to PDF, or a slide template. There's a really easy way to do it, and I'll show you how to do that. These would be more used for if you were going to use like PowerPoint versus doing Google Slides. So do you traditionally use Google Slides or PowerPoint? Barbara?
When you run through
I-
both,
I'm migrating at the moment out of desperation
Sure. We can-
to Google Slides, but I have been in the past doing PowerPoint.
Okay, well,
But
we'll go
can't
over
we
both
just
of
save
those.
it to Google Slides?
I mean, it
The
depends.
platforms are very similar, aren't they?
The platforms are very similar. Some people use some people use PowerPoint for their Zoom presentations. You would then, at the end of it, upload it to Google Drive, which would, turn it into a slide. But some people prefer to use PowerPoint for the actual presentation. Just they think it's a little bit easier I find it easier to share a PowerPoint presentation than it is to share a Google Drive a Google Slides presentation. So, but yes, Daniel, I will go over when we get there. I'll go over both versions, how you can get a template into PowerPoint and how you can get a template into Google Slides. And Barbara, as far as client logos go, that's not something we're currently doing. We're not currently acquiring those logos from clients. Traditionally, I'll just Google it and copy it and paste it when I need it. But if we need to make it so when we sign a client to a project, we can add a little folder of their slick or their logo to the client project folder if you think that would be beneficial to have it live there within the consultant portal. That's something I can add to sort of my checklist of launching a new project.
Well, I don't care how it gets there, but I do notice that we use them when so I just didn't know where they came from and
Google.
And if for example, I'm doing something that's a brand new piece, how do I do that? It seems to me if we had something where we could easily grab it so we don't have to go searching when we're looking for it, it would be a good idea, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something that the client gave us. If it can be dragged down from the web and then the internet and then put somewhere, that would be great.
Okay. I
One
can
way or
add that.
another. Okay.
I can add that to when I build a new folder, I can add a client logo section. As it goes for, creating a template with the client logo, like for a PowerPoint presentation or for a Word, for a doc, that's going to kind of be on each consultant, and as you get more savvy with Word and Google Docs and with Drive, it'll become easier and easier to very easily take our base template and throw Greater Hollywood in the corner. As you get more familiar, you'll see that that's a very simple thing to do. But I can show you how to do that today as well.
I have a quick question. So if you create something in Word and then you convert it, you put it in the Drive.
Yep.
You haven't created in Google Docs. You in a G doc, in a Google Doc, but you've created it in Word.
Yes.
Are there any limitations in the Drive are there any pluses and minuses in doing that? Or would you prefer that generally we create things within, using the G Sheets and the G Drive and the G Docs?
It could be done either way, but here's what I'll tell you. If you create something on Word and then you upload it as a Word document to Google Drive, likely the formatting will change.
Okay.
So often if I do it, because I prefer working in Word. I do. I'm just more used to it. But I only really do that if it's going to be a PDF, because when you export that Word document to a PDF, your formatting is clean, clear. You don't have to worry about it.
It's done.
If I know it's something that's going to change a ton, it's going to change, we're going to edit it, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Okay, I'm just going to do it in Google Docs, because that formatting doesn't really matter right now. But that is what I would say. The disadvantage to doing it in Word and then uploading it is that your formatting is going to change. However, if you're at the step in the process where it doesn't really matter if your formatting changes, you just want to work somewhere comfortably and then upload, that's fine. Then that's totally fine. But just be aware, your formatting might change a little bit, which is why traditionally for a lot of these big presentations, you'll see like when we're doing a big data set, when we're doing a final report, that final document will go to Joel or I, because we'll format it, make sure it looks ESC branded, make sure everyone's comfortable with it. And we won't even ask the consultants to worry about that step of it. So that's traditionally how we do it, just because it's easier, than asking you to get it into ESC formatting. And we do that formatting in Word traditionally. But then it's getting exported as a PowerPoint or as a PDF. So doesn't matter. It goes and lives beautifully forever on the drive. But those are great. I'll get back to both of those, Barbara. I just want to get through this little exploration of the drive, which I'm sharing, and then I'll circle back to templates, which is one big thing I wanted to hit today. So thank you for bringing that up. Again, don't want to play too much in that, but a lot of these are here, and this has now inspired us that we'll get some client logos living in those folders as well. Again, I'm just navigating back and forth by clicking this bar up here. Some people don't know that. It's sort of like using your back button, but you know where you're going. The back button in this case would take me forward technically. So I prefer to use here so I know exactly where I'm kind of navigating to. Let's see, guide to virtual meetings, not so much important. You'll see a lot of these things go back to different times. But if you're ever interested in something like learning about our marketing plan, that lives here. Again, marketing advertising, not as helpful to me as this final folder, which is templates, manuals, resources, and ESC best practices. This is where, for example, the consultant manual lives, which we revamped in 2024 and is helpful and organized versus all sorts of things. We'll click back. Here under best practices, we've got some position search documents. I want to clean this up a little bit, but here's how it lives for right now. This has got some stuff if you were doing an executive search, some examples of pre-screening questions, some resume review. A lot of these are older, but could be useful, not to use, as your Bible, but as a guide, a starting place if you're looking for something. Here we've got, again, letterheads and logos. So this is all the same stuff that was in that advertising folder. I just dragged it over here because I thought it fits nicely under resources. So I'll just put it in both places just in case you're looking for it. Templates and forms. This is also very helpful, similar. We'll talk about this. These have got the different PowerPoint slides. Something like your mileage reimbursement request, which if you were driving, I would send to you, but it does live here. This SPC job description we came up with to share with folks that might be considering joining an SPC on a strategic planning project. Doc template. That stuff is all here. Let's see what's in here. A lot of this stuff is old. That is what I will say. It is one of my goals to clean it up and just really get down to what exactly we need to be in here. So there's less scrolling and looking, but I just haven't had the time to dedicate to cleaning this section up, but it's on my list. Here are some post-project surveys and evaluations that Bindu helps me out with actually, that we launch after a project is completed. And the most important thing, I think, in this folder, this is a folder I've been trying to cultivate more, project resources. And as you can see, it's a little more organized because I've been really trying to go in here and say, if I'm looking for project resources as a consultant, what would I try to find? If it's about if you're looking for compensation studies, we have some in here, again, for an executive search, probably. Data set examples. So our lovely FC3 data set lives in here as a good example of what a data set could look like, both the report in PDF version and our lovely slideshow presentation. See Bindu, you can kind of see here. This went from PowerPoint slides to Google Slides, and it looks okay, right? But on occasion, some of the formatting, not quite great. That's sort of what you might run into. But it's fine for the purposes of this template. Behind that, you're going to find in project resources email templates. Joel uses these a lot. Email template, organization to stakeholders requesting interviews. So if you want to give the client some language to use, we've already written it up for you. If you'd like to use it, again, guidelines, templates, not Bible. Same. Hello, this is me as the consultant reaching out to ask you to meet with me for a stakeholder interview. So this is language you could share with your team. And I want to beef out those email templates. That's just a start there. Environmental scan examples, same thing. Haines City and FC3, just what they looked like. Hiring and recruitment. This is the candidate feedback and referral form we use for executive search. Sample agendas. And also this is the kickoff meeting PowerPoint. But again, just samples, just things you might need to use and you go, I don't really want to start from scratch. Same here. All of these different stakeholder interviews, I sorted them like that. These are for community partners. Here's some sample questions. For funders or donors, here's some sample questions. Here's what FC3 did. Here's what CCLA did. Here's what Arts and Culture Center of Hollywood did. Just to get your brain jump started. Lastly, strategic plan worksheets. These can be really good. You'll need them along the way. A SWOT worksheet for SWOT analysis, different versions of them that you could use. This is the example of the Google form that I created for SWOT analysis. We'll talk about Google Forms. A strategic priority tracking template we can share with the client as parts of successful implementation. SMART goals, cheat sheet. I mean, just anything you could use for strategic planning could be in there. And then lastly,
And my favorite triangle.
And your favorite triangle, is it in there? It's got to be.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Where's the triangle? I'll add that in there. It's got to be in there somewhere. Put on my list. Triangle for Bindu. Word and image. Good point. Thank you. I'm always, as we go, trying to find things that could go in here. And if I find it, I throw it in here. So could be overwhelming, but again, just explore it when you have time. Not today, not tomorrow, not in the middle of a time crunch project. If you're in the middle of a time crunch project and you go, I really need that triangle, I can't find it, that's when you email me, But I want to make it to where y'all are self-sustainable in the ways you want to be,
So is the reverse true too? If we find something that would be of benefit to the greater good, can we just send you an email and say, is this something that, okay.
Yes,
Right.
Bindu, please do. It just happened last week when I met with Ken and the Second Chance folks. We had that section in the final report that was called recommendations for successful implementation of a strategic plan. And Ken said, I just copied this from Barbara from the FC3 project, but why don't we have standard language for that? Wouldn't it make sense that ESC would, on all strategic planning projects, use the same language about recommendations for successful implementation? And I said, you're right. So my next goal is to refine that just to make it a little more general because it speaks really to Second Chance. So that's the next thing that's going in there. And that was because Ken said, why don't we just have a standard template or language for that? I said, I don't know, we should. So we're still definitely we're experiencing some growing pains right now. And the good news about growing pains is that you find opportunity in some growing pains. The bad news about growing pains is that sometimes I feel like a chicken with my head cut off and like I can't help when I want to help, but trying to embrace those challenges instead. All right. That was what I had for Google Drive. Would you all be comfortable with me moving on to answer Barbara's questions about templates? I feel like that's a good next segue if that feels good for you all. Great. Thank you. Let me do it. So this was a suggestion from Madeline Park Durgans, I think. She said, we've got all those templates. So I'm just going to navigate back to the consultant portal. We've got all those templates living in those folders, but that only really helps me if I'm downloading them. You know, how do I just create an ESC branded doc on Google Drive? I said, I can make that happen. Why that doesn't already exist, I don't know, but let's do it. So let's just go into clients and projects, excuse me. I'll go into Second Chance since I've been poking around with them all day. They won't mind. And I want to create a Google Doc, essentially a Word document, but here on the consultant portal that's already branded with the ESC logo. I don't want to worry about doing any copy paste. I just want it to just be there for me. I'm going to go over into new in this corner. Don't click Google Doc. If I click it, it's going to take me to just a blank page. I'm going to scroll over to this little arrow. Instead of blank document, I'm going to click from a template. And when I go here, it's going to show me template gallery for ESC, South Florida. Ignore the South. I can't change that. And right here it is. I'll click on that. And then I will get, oh, that's right. I don't want to do that. I'm so sorry. I want to do exactly what I did. Google Doc from a template. Takes me to the template. Oh, that must be it. Okay. Google Doc template. Go here. But is it going to save as a template there? Let me try it a different way. I'm so sorry to confuse everybody. Let me go new Google Doc. And then I'm going to, oh gosh, why do they make this so hard? So sorry, everybody. This is new to me. This is what I say, like feeling with a chicken with my head cut off. New.
Well, I think you had it, just need to change the name.
Yeah, from a template. I'm just worried that I'm changing it, but maybe I'm not. I'll just click this. Let me just doodle around.
We could just copy it, right?
That's what I'm thinking, but let me see.
I did see that option.
Ah, you were right, Daniel. Okay. Don't be afeared like I was afeared, everybody now and everybody watching. I was afeared, talk through my process, that it was, when I did that, it was going to change the template. It's not. It's just going to call it that, which is annoying. But I'll get a new, I'll go to Word, I'll go to ESC-FL doc template, and I can rename it whatever I'd like. So SCS, I don't know, data set.
So it'll save it as that. Sorry. It'll save it as that.
You don't have to save it as anything.
Oh, right. We are in the shared
It
drive.
will
Yes,
automatically now, pop up right here. SCS dataset 2.
Awesome.
Because I renamed it. Otherwise, it's going to stay called a template. And then when you
will the original one still be there?
The original one will still be there. That was what I was worried about.
Yeah.
It is annoying that it names it that, but whatever. The original one will still be there, and the new document you created will be where you uploaded it, or where you didn't even upload it, where you created it, right here.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got lost there. Can you go all the way back? I apologize, to where you went to new,
Yep. New.
and then what'd you do?
I went to this arrow,
Uh-huh,
and instead of blank document,
yes,
sorry, it clicked away from me. I clicked from a template.
right,
Now this pops up and it shows
Right.
me this option to
right.
use the ESC letterhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Click on that.
Oh, you clicked on it, okay.
I clicked on it, and now here it is. It now lives where you created it, in whatever folder that was. And now you automatically have this doc that is ESC formatted. And all you have to do is rename it and edit it and write on it, do whatever you would do, just like any other document that you created on, like any other Google Doc you created on the consultant portal.
Something, I messed it up somehow.
Okay. Do you want to
No,
share?
no, that was you. That was you. This is, okay. ESC-FL doc template, it says rename, so I can just, I'm playing with my own as we're doing this, so I can just, delete what's in there and put something else?
Click.
Yep, click on it and hit the delete button, and then you can rename it whatever you'd like. Did it work for you, Barbara?
Well, hit the, I don't know where the delete button is here.
Like on your keyboard. You just sort of
Okay.
highlight that language, highlight where it
Oh,
says,
like you would do it anywhere, anyway.
yeah,
Well, and then.
and you rename it.
So
Okay, let's just
if
say-
I may,
No, it's not working for me, but that's okay. I'll figure that out. I'm doing, I've done this before and right now.
You did it,
I'm just-
Barbara. It's there. I see that you created ESC-FL doc template, right?
I
It's
did.
there. Barbara Gray created it.
Oh, yeah, right. But I didn't, that's what it was called.
Yep.
And
So when you open it, go up here. And do you see
Oh,
how I
when you-
clicked in here?
yeah,
Oops, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Can you click up here and sort of highlight it?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
And then you can hit the delete button on your keyboard or just type over it and it will rename it.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Mm-hmm.
All right, so now if I refresh it, perhaps it will have renamed it. In a minute, it'll show me what Barbara did. So hopefully that's helpful in that regard. The same thing can be done. I'm going to stay. Yeah,
There it
BG,
is.
you renamed
Mhm.
it. Yay.
Okay.
Good
So
job.
now you can just get it out of there, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
I'll take it out in a minute. But for now, I'm going to use it.
Okay.
I'm going to open up BG. And so now I've got this, right? But I want to add Second Chance Society's logo as well. So how I would do that is I would insert an image, and you can go from Drive, and it's going to show me all these recent ones. But let's see. I don't have Second Chance Society, so I'm not going to worry about it. But you can go to any image that you might have, whether that's on Google Drive, and it will show up on Google Drive since I'm going to start uploading those client logos into your folder. In fact, I don't have time. We're running out of time, but it would be there for you. Or you can, of course, do insert image from your computer. So if you had downloaded it, it would be there for you. And then you can just
drop
insert
it in there.
Yep.
Are we logging off at 3:30 or do we have 5 minutes?
We have until 4, but I've got a hard
okay.
out at 4, unfortunately, and I'm
Alright.
just trying to cover some other
Okay.
stuff on my agenda that
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
not gotten to. Then you're able to
Good.
So I
resize.
do have a question, so, okay.
1 second, let me just
No,
finish.
no hurry, no hurry.
So then you can resize it. You can have it go around text, behind text, in front of text, all sorts of things. Put it where you want it. Put it up here, put it over there, wherever you'd want that image to go. You also have the option to go in all image options, and you can position it in different places. You can fix, this is a good one, image options, arrow, position, drop down, fix position on page. That means that it won't move. Well, it's supposed to move. It's not, it won't move with text. You can type around it and it won't get moving on you, which is nice. So I'm going fast now because I'm running out of time. But Barbara, you
okay.
and I can get back together on.
I see there's a way to do this, and it's going to take, doing it more than once or twice to get it in here.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a bicycle. Okay.
Yeah. And the tougher part is, getting the client logo on here as well. Again, if you're struggling, if anyone's struggling with creating a template that also has the client logo, reach out to me and I'll see what I can do to set it up for you. Because it is tricky. Another way you could do it if anyone's just looking to play around is by using the header feature. Oftentimes, if you insert, that can help. You can insert image as a header, just like you would with page numbers or something. It can, it's huge. That's the only problem. It will show up on all the pages. Boom. So now that has been reflected on all the pages. So the header option is really helpful in terms of getting a sort of template that page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4 are all the same. But you would have to do that sort of customized for your project. What's important now to know is that if you want to just get that basic Word document that has the template for ESCs, the little teal banner at the bottom and the ESC logo, that is the way to do it. New, Google Docs, hover, don't click, arrow from a template, double click, and it will end up wherever you newed it from. Just like how when you upload a file, you go to new, file upload, and you can pick a file from your drive or from your computer. And when you do that, there's some Google logo I used. It does not go somewhere random. It goes right into the folder that you wanted it to go into. So that template is the same way. And real quick, when you want to do something similar, the exact same thing, but for a PowerPoint or a Google slide, it's the same way here. You go to Google Slides, new, excuse me, too slow. Go all the way down to Google Slides. Don't click it, hover, find the arrow from a template. And again, here is a PowerPoint slide, a Google Sheet slide that you can double click on, and it will not edit the template. Thank you. It will get you to these templates that you can use. So we included a couple different ones that you could use, oops, because it, your slideshow may be formatted in a way where you don't want the logo down here. This is kind of the standard traditional one. The logo's down here, but you may want it up there. You may want it over here. So we gave you options. And when you do the same thing, you go over here, highlight it. You can either delete it with your keyboard or you can, rename it whatever you want. So I'll just call this slideshow test. And now if I go over here, give it a minute, it'll rename it. There it is, slideshow test. Now, if I say, I don't want these, I don't want this upside down one, all I have to do is click on it and delete it. Actually, I do want this one on the left. I don't like the one on the right. Okay, I'm going to get rid of it. Delete the ones that don't match my vibe. In fact, I can delete them quickly by using the Shift button on my keyboard to highlight all the ones I don't like. I only want the left-hand side ones. And I don't want that one with the logo either. I'll delete all those, but now I only have one. That's no good. I'm going to again click on it, and I'm going to use duplicate slide. Aha. Now I have a nice base for my PowerPoint, which I know is going to be about, my presentation is about 5 slides. So now I have 5 slides, all how I want them, by deleting or using the duplicate of the template. And that will not affect that main template that you had and you can use anytime. All right, but I am going to delete BG, and I am going to delete slideshow test because Second Chance Society strategic plan does not need them. I know it's a lot, Barbara.
No, it's great. No, I'm so happy.
Oh, good. I don't know if we'll have time for me to show you how to do that in PowerPoint. So I'm going to put a pin in that and see if I can get to that by the end of the day, because I know Daniel requested seeing that as well. So I'll put a pin in that and see if I can get back to it. Bindu, what was your question?
So the dilemma with the forms, if you remember.
Yes, forms was going to be my next fun item. Any particular questions about forms that I can focus on?
I do know that I had big challenges when I was trying to do the stakeholder interviews, and lost one and messed up another. And thanks to Daniel, he was able to transcribe, etc. We thought we had fixed it, but it didn't work again. So I didn't want to touch anything. So I used your advice, Alexa, and just did it in Word, and then just slowly, I don't know whether I did it or you did it or whatever, it's all done now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Google Forms. They're not perfect. No online survey is, but they are the easiest way for us to keep everything in one section. So the problem that you were having that you're mentioning is an issue with how I set up the form. So it is not an issue we need to discuss on this call because it was a mistake I made, and was a good way to not make that mistake in the future. I know what I did. But I am going to...
It's even if even the version that you said, use this version only. Remember, you created this, even that
I would rather discuss this offline. I'm going to go ahead with the agenda that I've come up with to discuss Google Forms, because issues with specific forms are individual issues. And we don't have time to dive into that today. That shouldn't happen again, and has not happened with any other form, nor has any other consultant had any issues like that. So I think that was just that form giving us some trouble. So I'm going to go back to shared with me in our consultant portal. And here's the thing about forms that can get confusing. There is a front end and a back end. When we build the form, we are looking at the back end of it. When we distribute the form, whether that is a survey for people outside of the organization to take, or whether that is the consultant stakeholder interview that we may use for you to enter, which is what Bindu's talking about, for you to put in your responses to stakeholder interviews. I'll use Insight. That will be a good one because they have both of those. Either way, there's a front end and a back end. And one problem we were running into were individuals were trying to enter their responses into the back end of the folder. So what I'm not going to get into today is how to make a Google form. We don't have time. But if you want to learn how to make a Google form, I can easily show whoever on a different call. What we're going to talk about is looking at the differences between the front end and the back end of a Google form, because that's very imperative. That we as consultants do not edit the back end of a Google form once it's set. So let's see how we can identify the difference between the front end and the back end of a Google form. So let's take Insight, for example. I navigated through clients and projects to get here to their strategic plan folder, and I'm going to go to Insight, Stakeholder Interviews, and Survey. Now, down here, you have the responses. So if we open these up, you're going to see they haven't done the survey yet, but this Google Forms automatically, this is why they're good in this way, they automatically take your responses and shove them into a Google Sheet. So they're all already someplace nice in one place for you to find them. So here we can see the stakeholder interview responses, and everybody has put their entries in and they've nicely shown up here for us. That part is nice. But that I don't have to do anything to. That happens automatically. What I've been doing to help consultants not edit the Google Forms is I've been putting them in a folder called Do Not Edit. And here is the back end. So we have the back end of a survey, which you don't need to worry about too much, but this is the back end of a survey that would be distributed to stakeholders. What you may encounter more as a consultant is the response form that we use. So when a consultant does a stakeholder interview, they got to put it somewhere so we can get to that spreadsheet. There's all the responses and they link to that same spreadsheet I showed you earlier. Boom. But this is still the back end. These are all the questions. I could edit this right now. I could add Bindu as an interviewer. I don't want to do that. It is set up and we've all approved it as consultants. I've approved it as the builder. It's set. So when we want to distribute it, whether that's to the client or whether that is to our consultants so that they can use it, you want to be able to enter your stakeholder responses. The easiest way to do that is to use this big button right here, send. Let's click the button. It's a purple button. And Eleanor and I did this the other day, so she had easy access. I'm going to put consultant test at ESC-FL.org. I'm going to put my email here so that I have a quick version. That is not outside of ESC, but that's fine. Oh, I see what it is. I'm sorry. Let's see. It's actually just test at ESC-FL. There I am. I'm going to send it to myself. So now in my email up here, there it is. Insight stakeholder interview responses. I've invited you to fill out a form. So now it's in my email, so I can easily click this button, fill out in Google Forms. And here is the front end. So as opposed to this with the purple bar at the top, you can add-ons, customize theme, preview, undo, redo. You don't want all that. If you see that, you're not in the right side of Google Forms. You want to be up here where there's no bar at the top and it says this is the form to use. Then you can put in your email, select yourself, who are you interviewing, and this form using the next button will take you through all the steps you need to enter the responses. Now, as Bindu said, my recommendation is always to complete the interview, type up the responses as you go, maybe in Word, or if you take notes on paper, that's fine. And then come into this form later to fill in your responses. So at least you have them in two places, just in case something goes wrong. You lose internet, you accidentally close this while you're working on it. Just have it in two places for your sanity. The other way to distribute this, the front end of the link, besides emailing it to people, is to click the purple send button. And instead of send via email, you can send via a link. So from email, go to the right and click link. And in this case, they give you a nice option to shorten the URL, which is what I like, because it goes from this ugly, long, ugly link to this cute little forms link, forms.google.com. whatever. Now you can, of course, highlight that by clicking on it, right click and copy, or you can just click this button, copy, copied to clipboard. Then you can take that link, send it to yourself. If it's a survey you need to distribute out to membership, use that link to distribute. The main thing that matters, you can even go into your search bar. Let me use the link I copied. Again, I know I'm in the right spot because there's no editing at the top. Let me go ahead and favorite this. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the consultant portal. I'm going to favorite it and I'm going to put Insight Stakeholder Interviews or form. I'm going to say it's the form so I know that's the form I go to. So then after I've done my interview, I'm going to go to this link, either that I have the link, I've emailed it, my project lead or Alexa has emailed it, so I have it, or I'm just going to go right to my little favorited bookmark so I know I'm filling out the right thing. But again, if you're ever here and you see that top part that says customize theme, change this, change the responses, you don't want to be in there. You don't want to be in there unless you are helping to edit it. Daniel was helping me with some stuff with Greater Hollywood. And the cool thing, if we go over to Greater Hollywood, I'm just clicking back through to the consultant portal, to our clients. One of the cool things that Forms does do, one of the many cool things that they do, is they will come up with some of those handy dandy presentational things for you. So I want to show you the survey, membership survey. Where's that?
Right
membership
there.
survey materials. Here's the membership survey. This is a risky one. It's just living out here in the open. I have risked that you all won't touch it. But you can tell, here it is. I don't want it. But what's cool, of our 40 responses, look, it shows me a nice summary. This graph that you can copy is already made for you. Which services or benefits? They say that services, you know, the business is about the same. I could copy that chart. So of course we can always use we can look at that Google sheet that we have with all of our responses, but Google Forms also has this cool way of breaking it down. They call it insights under this summary.
So
Which is really
let me
nice.
just ask you, did you get that by just hitting the response thing up there?
Yes, I did.
Jeez.
Yep.
I've been going into Google Sheets and looking at the responses, but
Which
not,
is
I mean, I
that's a
didn't look
fine
at
way to
them,
do
I
it
just looked
too.
at the numbers. Well, no, I mean, yes, it is a good way, but it's also good to have that summary thing as well.
Yep. So either of those options are good.
Wow.
The sheet here is really nice, especially when we get into analysis. You know, if you want to use ChatGPT to summarize, if you want to provide them with all that raw data in sheet form, it's already there for you. This you can't share really. You can't like take this page and share it with Greater Hollywood, but you can use these charts when they're finalized for the data set, which is super nice. But I find that the sheet is easier to read than some of these sections like this, you know? But yeah, both options are good. But you'll only see this if you're in the editing, the building mode, which you only want to be in if you're building or if you're looking at responses.
When you say
Alexa?
that you can't, I'm sorry, go ahead,
No,
Eleanor.
that's all right, Barbara. You can go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you, so you said you can't share it with them, but if we wanted to take some of these pages and convert them to slides for a presentation, we could do that, yes?
Yes, by using the copy chart
Okay,
button.
gotcha.
it-
There you go. Okay,
it-
I see it. Mhm.
It would be a copy paste situation
Uh-huh.
into a slide.
Wow,
Eleanor?
very good.
Can you print the whole response document somewhere, or assume you
You-
can, right?
I'm sure you could print this, but it wouldn't look very pretty. just because it might cut off some of these scrolls, you know? But you could, if you wanted to print all responses, I would do that from the spreadsheet, because then you're guaranteed not to miss anything.
Okay.
Yeah. But if I go to print this here, let's see what it looks like. It looks okay. I'm trying to get to some new
You know, it's
page.
those page breaks that sometimes
Mm.
run
Yeah.
into, yeah.
The page breaks are not fun. Why is it
No.
only showing me one page? And it's only showing me one page. It won't
Oh.
let me scroll down. So
It
it's
won't let you
just not
scroll
really.
down.
I'm
It
sorry.
won't let you scroll. It usually on the print, it lets you scroll down on the left-hand page.
Mm-hmm. It's
right.
saying
See
there's
the-
only. It's saying there's only
Yeah,
one
there, a
page
little
here.
bit.
That's a zoom out.
That's it.
It's saying there's only one. This is all pages, so it's saying there's only one page here. So there might be a way to get them to print the whole page, this whole section, but I'm not exactly sure how to do it.
It was just that if we want to provide this as an appendix to the data set, then it's a little tedious, but that's fine. We'll
There
figure
might
something.
there
Well,
might be a way.
I have done something like that. I did that for you know, that recovery project we did, Barb.
Yeah.
And essentially I had to move this back into a Microsoft product and then play around with it there. So it was a Word document.
Yeah.
And then I PDF'd it.
Yeah. I would say your best bet would be to stick with the sheet that has all of the information and pair this with the charts with using the copy chart. But, you know, if you're comfortable going in here, you all have access
Click on
to
the
this.
three buttons there on the right next to view and sheet. Right there.
Yeah.
It
Print
says
all
print all
responses.
responses. Maybe that's what it does. Yeah.
Let's see what it does. Yeah.
Yep.
Or it must do something because it's taking a long time to load.
Nah, fingers crossed. 240 pages. Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, there you go.
Oy, oy, oy.
That's a lot.
Okay, that's
I know.
page by page, response
That's a
by
page by
response.
page response for everybody.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not it. Okay.
So
So
that's not the summary we want.
right. So well, let's not do it now, but I have done that and
Okay.
gotten something similar to this in a Microsoft product.
Yeah.
Good though. Mhm.
Eleanor,
Alexa,
do you have a question? Mhm.
in terms of the form itself, are there two versions? One that would go to the, let's say, to the public, and one that we would, in a slightly different form for when the consultant is entering the data?
No, there's only one form. There's only one there's different forms built. So there is a form for the membership survey that has one link that would go out to the public. There's a completely different form built for stakeholder interviews that has one link that goes out to our consultants, but it's always the same link. Yeah, they're just different. They're different forms that were built. They're not the same. They're not getting the same content. The public is not getting the same content as the consultant. They're two completely different forms that were built, and thus two different links.
I don't think on the one that we're working on now for the Schoolhouse Children's Museum, I don't think that the form where we enter the data asks the same questions as the discussion guide. I mean,
Can
I
you-
know, it's
can
not
you
that I don't
repeat-
think, they are different. For the children's, Schoolhouse Children's Museum,
Yes.
we have a discussion guide with the questions that we're supposed to discuss with the stakeholder.
I believe that is because when I built the form, you were on vacation and Madeline gave me different questions. And so I built the form based on the questions I was given by Madeline, which she thought were the final questions. And so if you need me to update the form with new questions. With
It's too late. We're done with them. We're almost done with them. They're close, but they're not,
yes,
but
that is
that would
because
explain it.
that's because the final version of the questions was not on Google Drive because you hadn't been onboarded properly on how to upload to Google Drive. So I went to Madeline when she asked me to build the form, and those were the questions I was provided. So they weren't the final version, which is frustrating, but also why we now know, not shaming at all, but I'll say to the ether as they watch this video, final versions of everything should be called final and put on the Google Drive so that if you're not
Yeah, we
there,
hadn't,
whoever's
we
not.
also hadn't finalized them yet, and it was an email to everybody on the team. But okay, that explains it. Thank you.
I understand. I'm not going to take one email from the team and build a form. I'm going to go to the person who is in charge of it and ask them for the questions, and then I'm going to build a form based on the response that I'm given. So, but if it were on the drive, I would have just used the one called final. So
It wasn't finalized, as I said.
okay,
But
well, then
thank
that's
you.
a discussion we could have offline with Madeline because I was given a directive to do something and I did my
Okay,
job.
thank you.
All right, we are almost out of time. There's a few things I didn't get to today, but I think that we had a good discussion in terms of some helpful things. There's a few short things that I'll just bring up real quick in my last 2 minutes. If you have a Google account, which you all do, you have access to Google Meet. Google Meet is a video platform that you can use just kind of like Zoom, but you don't have to download anything. There's no application that you have to download and launch. It doesn't cost any money. You have it just by using Google. And you all use Google with a professional account because you are ESC consultants. So let me share my screen very quickly. That's not the one I want to share. Let me share this screen real quickly about Google Meet. Here's this plain old Google page. I can find Google Meet by typing it in, Google Meet. Additionally, where you may be more often is Gmail. Here's Gmail. And right over here, you have chat. So you could always start a chat with somebody if you wanted to. Not a lot of people use chat. Joel and I use chat. You also have the Meet button. Click that, join a meeting if you have a link, or new meeting. This might be one you want to use. New meeting, you can get this invite, send invite. That'll allow you to copy it or share it via email, or you can hit new meeting, join now. Whoa, hopefully we don't get any. This is helpful. Thanks, Google. I've never logged on to Meet from this account, so I have to give it permission. Do I want people to see me and hear me in the meeting? I do. So I'm going to use microphone and camera. And I'm going to click allow. Now, Bindu ran into an issue where, oh no, there I am. Don't like that. Ran into an issue where at one point she had said no. And so Google Meet wasn't working for her. So we went in and we fixed it to where her camera and microphone were allowed on Google Meet. If you run into that problem, I can't go through it today, but shoot me an email and we will go in together and get it reset for you. But if I join this meeting that I started, I can do kind of very similar as Zoom. Mute and unmute, camera on and off, emojis. I can present now, which is their version of screen sharing, hang up. And if I want to invite people into it, there's a chat function. I'm going to click people and I can add people. So I'm going to invite whoever I want. Let's go to add people, enter name or email. Here, I'll invite myself. Send me an email. And then the other person will get that invite. So very, very similar to Zoom. Again, that's a super quick version of it, but as many of you may have encountered already, with the ESC Zoom, we only have that one license. There's discussion about adding licenses, but it is expensive. So sometimes you can run into a problem, not often, but it happens where the Zoom is being used already by another project or by ESC when you want to use it. Think about Google Meet as an alternative. That can be
You can also get to Google Meet directly from your calendar, which is where I usually do it.
yes,
And,
great point.
and it's very easy,
Is there a
Yes.
time limitation?
an
There's
hour.
no time limitation on Google
Okay.
Meet. There's an hour.
For me, it's an hour, but I do it on my regular Google because that's the calendar I use. And
Yes.
it's not a professional.
Yeah. So with the professional account that ESC offers, there is no limitation. So you could be on
Then
there.
you-
as
Yeah, you would
long
set
as
it up. You would set it up on the ESC calendar and invite yourself if you use a different calendar.
Exactly. So you could start a meeting right here. So I just navigated to calendar. You all know how to do that. Sorry, I never use this account, so it's prompting me all the things. Let's create this meeting here. You know, Bindu and Alexa are going to talk on Thursday at 9:30. Add Google Meet video conferencing. Thank you, Eleanor, for this. And here it automatically creates this little link for you. So when I send this to you, Bindu, pretend I sent that to Bindu. If I wanted to send it to Bindu, just in case, I could add her over here by using her ESC email. I'd add her. I'm not going to because I don't want you to get this fake invitation, but I'd send that off to her. And then, as Eleanor is beautifully saying, on my email, all I have to do is click join with Google Meet. And it's automatically going to take me, no echo, to my meeting. So that is a great shortcut. I will say it's really good for using internally, but not everybody uses Google or Google Meet, especially a lot of the nonprofits we work with use Microsoft and they use Teams and Office and things like that. That's not going to work for them, which is why Zoom tends to be the most universal video that everybody uses, and it seems to be the safest way to meet externally with clients and everyone, but internally with you guys, use Google Meet. If you got to go, you got to go. I thank you for coming, Bindu. I got to go soon too. Other things I could help you out with, we won't get into today, but with your Gmail, you have the option to set away messages. You have the option to have automatic responses if you're out of town, things like that. And if you'd like to set up your Gmail signature to include the ESC logo, that was one of the things I was going to walk through today, but we'll do that on another day. But you can get a little nice signature set up so every time you send an email, pops up automatically with your name and the logo of ESC. So my next time, I'll write those down. ESC signature and away messages. Maybe I can make little videos about that.
All right,
right.
Alexa, thank you very much. I have
Thank
to go.
you.
Yeah, it's been a lot
Thank
of
you,
Thank
Alexa.
you.
interesting. Yeah, thank you.
Really,
Awesome.
really great. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank
Really.
you.